What are the early signs of dementia? Dementia is not a specific disease. Instead, it is an umbrella term that describes a collection of symptoms. The signs and symptoms of dementia can affect someone's memory, as well as their ability to think, process information, and communicate with others. The World Health Organization reports that we have more than 60 million people worldwide living with dementia today. There are more than 1 million new cases diagnosed every year in the US. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. However, it's not the only cause. Dementia symptoms can vary due to the underlying cause. And there are some key symptoms that are common warning signs in the early stages of dementia. The early signs of dementia may vary depending on the cause, but as the disease progresses, the later stages have similar signs and symptoms. So let's take a look at some of the most common warning signs of dementia. I want to address the causes, risk factors, and the ways to prevent it. Having memory problems doesn't mean you have dementia. There are other signs and symptoms, and you must have at least two of these other signs or symptoms of dementia, and they must significantly interfere with functioning in your everyday life. The other impairments, along with the memory issue, could include difficulty or changes in language skills can occur with any type of dementia. This is because dementia can damage the region of the brain that controls language. How and when language skill problems develop will depend on the patient's personality. Everyone has ways they manage their language issues. The type of dementia will also have an impact on the language. And lastly, the stage the dementia is in plays an integral part in language skills. Another impairment that would be a sign of dementia is communication problems. Communication problems include not being able to find the right word or using a related word. For example, they say book instead of computer, or they substitute words. For example, saying things that, like that thing you sit on, instead of using the word chair, or they struggle to find words but use words that have no meaning or that are jumbled up in the wrong order. Focus or difficulty concentrating is another symptom that may accompany a memory problem. Studies show that damage to the hippocampus region is where new memory and learning are stored. Damage to that region makes it more difficult for a person to hold on to a train of thought. The last symptom that may accompany memory problems is reasoning and problem solving abilities. The early signs of dementia will depend on the cause of this condition. Early diagnosis and treatment can slow the progression of the disease. Short-term memory changes is one of the earliest signs of dementia. Having trouble with memory can be an early sign of dementia. The changes are often very subtle and minor. These changes tend to involve short-term memory. In the early stages of dementia, a person may be able to remember events that took place decades ago, and yet they have no memory of what they had for breakfast or what they did just a few hours ago. Other short-term memory issues may include forgetting where they placed items, putting the car keys into the freezer instead of on the end table dish by the door, where they struggled to remember why they entered a particular room. We all have those moments where we have a task and then we go to the room to get something and we forget what we're doing in that room. The difference is a person with dementia just can't retrace their steps. Forgetting appointments or what they are supposed to do on any given day is also a short-term memory problem that is an issue for dementia patients. These are subtle changes in their behaviors that are an early sign of dementia. Another early sign and symptom of dementia is difficulty with communicating thoughts. A person in the early stages of dementia may have a hard time explaining something or finding the right words to express themselves. They may stop in the middle of a sentence and not know where they were or how to continue. They even forget the topic. Having a conversation with the person who has dementia can be challenging, and it takes longer than usual to express their thoughts or feelings. There are many of us that have been on hold for forever while we've been listening to elevator music. And then when the person finally gets on the phone after what seems like hours of waiting, we forget who we called and why we called. That's not a form of dementia. That's multitasking, and it's not focusing on at what's at hand because we just turn that music out. A change in mood is also an early sign and symptom of dementia. A person that has dementia may not recognize this in themselves. However, family and friends may notice this change in someone else. A change in mood may include depression. Depression is an early sign of dementia. A person with dementia may start to become fearful or anxious. A break in routine or finding themselves in an unfamiliar situation may cause them to feel upset, anxious, and suspicious. Along with mood changes, you may also notice a shift in their personality. A person may change from being quiet and reserved to being outgoing. Apathy or listlessness is a common sign and a symptom of early dementia. A person with dementia starts to lose interest in hobbies or other activities they used to enjoy. They lack the ability to initiate any activity, and they may not want to go out anymore or have fun. They lose interest in spending time with others, and they seem actually emotionally flat. Difficulty completing a task is another early sign of dementia. You may observe a minor shift in the ability to complete common tasks. This usually starts with difficulty with more complex tasks like balancing a checkbook or paying a bill or following a recipe or even playing a game that has lots of rules. A person with dementia also struggles to learn how to do new things. They find it hard to follow a new routine. In the early stages of dementia, a person may become confused. They may have difficulty remembering faces or knowing what day or month it is. Some may not be able to figure out where they are, even if it is a familiar place. Confusion occurs for a number of reasons. For example, they may misplace their car keys or glasses. They don't remember what comes next in the day, such as eating lunch comes sometime after breakfast. Difficulty following the sequence of a conversation is a classic early sign of dementia. Those suffering from dementia often forget the meanings of words they hear. They struggle to follow along with conversations or TV programs. A dementia patient's sense of direction and spatial orientation starts to get worse in the early stages of dementia. They may have difficulty recognizing once familiar landmarks. They forget how to get to a familiar place that they used to have no trouble finding in the past. You can observe they have difficulty following a series of directions or step-by-step instructions. Repetition or repeating oneself over and over again is common in people with dementia due to memory loss. The person with dementia may repeat daily activities such as bathing or dressing. They may begin to collect things obsessively. They may repeat the same question in a conversation or repeat the same story over. Another early sign of dementia you may observe is a family member struggling to adapt to change. In the early stages of dementia, doing something new and different may cause fear in some. It can happen suddenly. You can see that blank look in their eyes, and then they can't remember those around them or even familiar family members. Because of this, they seem to become inflexible and crave routine. They are afraid to try new experiences. Difficulty adapting to change is also an early symptom of dementia. Another consequence of loss of memory skills is the inability to make good decisions. A person with dementia may not be able to recognize a dangerous situation. They may try to walk across a busy street without waiting until it's safe. They may wear the wrong clothes for the weather, like wearing a bathing suit in a snowstorm. A decline in financial judgment is also an early sign of dementia. Someone who was usually careful with their money may start giving away money or spending things on things they do not need. As I started out, memory problems don't automatically point to dementia. Memory lapses are a normal part of aging. Developing dementia is not. It is important that you don't ignore the symptoms. If you or someone you know is experiencing early signs of dementia, please speak with your doctor. Your PCP or primary care physician will likely refer you to a neurologist. This is a doctor that will examine you or your family members for their physical and mental health. They will determine whether the symptoms are caused by dementia or some other cognitive issue. Dementia is more common in people over the age of 65, but there are instances that can affect people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. With early diagnosis and treatment, you may be able to slow the rate of progression and maintain mental function for a longer period of time.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Caregiver Relief. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions for future videos, topics you'd like us to cover, or even improvements you'd like to see on the channel, drop them in the comments below.